it appears that with a little bit of a curveball, the Tarkov devs decided that they were going to produce an ARG of all of their own. Hi guys, my name is Onepeg, and this is another special edition of the news that has to specifically do with the Tarkov ARG that was discovered on Valentine's Day on 2/14, the progress that we've made so far, and I guess where we are stuck. Now, as always, if you guys find this content valuable, I would ask that you consider subscribing. Also, please come and visit me on Twitch. Usually, after I send up these uploads, I tend to go live immediately thereafter, and I would love to say hi to each and every one of you. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of the support. It has been absolutely overwhelming and so cool to see. So the question that I commonly get asked when talking about an ARG is, what the hell is an ARG? Well, ARG stands for Alternate Reality Game. It's when either the community or the developers of a video game decide that they're going to take the lore of the game outside of the game. Usually that's done with some form of cryptography, either embedded codes and imagery, text, video files, audio files, which eventually leads to some form of out-of-game Easter egg. A really common or well-celebrated example of this would be the game Binding of Isaac, if you want to Google that, or the game Trials 2, if you want to Google that. A really famous one was with the game Overwatch, where they released the character Sombra, but it was not received as well as some of the other ARGs in the past because it had some issues with time walls, where in order to be able to do the next step, people had to wait for a certain amount of time in order to be able to get the next clue. But I digress. In my last video, I showed everybody the new task in order to be able to get the KAPPA container. The thing is that task had a really interesting title, which was A049C0260101 PD. And in the course of that video, I said, I don't know if this is something where it's like a quest placeholder name or if it's some hexadecimal interesting title that's got some kind of a hidden meaning behind it. What's interesting about that statement is, little did I know, for the people that completed the quest, they got this string of text that didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Turns out that was the start of a puzzle. Now, I have some images from a Discord community that I belong to that has some very, very intelligent and capable people, of which I personally do not feel like I even keep pace with most of the guys in there. But I have some screen caps of the thought process that we've been going through so far, suggestions that have been made kind of back and forth, and the point in time that we seem to kind of be stuck at. If you guys would like to get involved in this, I would recommend either joining my Discord or checking out the various Reddit threads that have to do with this ARG. So at first we had this quest or task text that was sent at the end of the KAPPA container task. Once you finished it, you got a message from Fence that was heavily encrypted. And it turns out that this was an actual puzzle. And if you notice, there's this string of random what seems to be letters, and then at the end there are words here that make it look as though these are actual words. So what it turns out is the last 2 to 3 lines of text here are things that ended up being mirrored. So if we reverse not only the left to right order, but also the top to bottom order, we get this. So these lines of reverse text become, first truth is, at the base you see the sum of 4 and 6. Second truth is that 13 is a false number. So then that led us to thinking, okay, well, if 13 is a false number, that means that anywhere that we saw the number 13, then we should probably take it out of that string of text. And then the sum of 6 and 4, according to one of the other guys in the Discord, said, okay, well, that must be a B64 decode. So we got looking into this even further. And then when we decided that we were going to remove all the 13s, that turned into this string of text. And then with a B64 decode and ROT13 turned into this. Then with some other decoding that was done based on guys that are way, way smarter than me, we came to this sentence. The number of swan withholds 5. So, again, beyond me. But for this phrase, it ended up being the number of swan withholds 5. After dealing with swans, you will find yourself in a square of 4. There is a special place to reveal yourself in a shape of tube, the short. Now, we're not exactly sure what this means as of yet. But, again, something that we're working on, right? Another step that was taken was to look at the quest description itself, which, again, remember, was a string of numbers, and it looked an awful lot like hex. So they hexed it, and this came to this phrase. At interchange, we were at bash, with then a reversed alphabet, with another string of random text, and then all of these random characters. Now, at the end, this doesn't look like it's all that much, but if you notice, in reverse, this spells out the word mirrored, right? So then the thought was, okay, well, we need to mirror this entire thing and then see what we have. So this is, at interchange, we were at bash, and then we mirrored it, and then had to also do what is called at bashing, which is another cipher. And that comes to this. At interchange, we were at KAPPA. The end of it all, you must kill the killer, and this is kind of where we are. Now, the last piece of this has to do with the task title. One of the suggestions, the few suggestions that I was actually able to make that turned out to be something, was to say, well, what about the title of this task? Does that lead us somewhere? And it turns out that it did. It actually led us to this YouTube video. The interesting thing about this YouTube video is that while it's extremely short and looks like it's just someone putting a bear patch on their shoulder, one of the comments that was made was that this glove seemed as though it was not a bear's glove, but a unisex glove. And we're not exactly sure where to kind of go from here. This remaining phrase that says in order to be able to figure this whole thing out has to do with something with killing Killa, somewhere around Kibba, and that last word in the phrase right before the word mirrored, we're not exactly sure what that is trying to say. It might be a different cipher in order to get that last word in the phrase. So this is kind of where we are. If you guys have any suggestions, anything that you think would help, again, there is a dedicated Discord channel on my Discord that has to do with the dev-sponsored ARG that is going on right now. And as always, I will appreciate any comments that you guys have to make in regard to any theories that you might have. I don't think any idea is too stupid. So, yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate you again for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.